Alright, to start, we're going to go find some images of Snoop Dogg. We want these to be pretty good quality. So I'm going to open up my dataset folder. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go Snoop Dogg. And we're going to go images. Now I'm going to go to, I don't know if it's here or not. Yeah, tools. So what we're going to do is go size. We're going to put large. So we want large images of Snoop Dogg. So looking around, there's some pretty good ones here. Let me just make this bigger. So I want to try and get ones without his glasses on, or ones that have clear glasses like this. So for example, this one, I'm going to save that. So I'm going to save that. So you'll notice that it's in WebP. We'll convert that back to PNG in momentarily, but for now, let's just save that. Let's go find some more images. So this one's a really good one as well. Nice and high quality. Let's save that. That's in JPEG. That will also be converted to PNG. Do that one. Oh, how many are it? 9, 10. And there we go. Now we have all these images here, which is what we want. So what I'm going to do is close that now and we'll focus on this folder. I need to convert these all to a PNG. So having a look here, we've got different formats. We've got AVIF, we've got WebP, we've got JPEG, and I don't see any PNGs. So if I come over here, you can see them all there. So we'll need to convert these all to PNG or JPEG. In my case, I'll do PNG because that will be the output of something I'm about to do. But if we come over back out here, I'm going to use the Reforge to do this. I was going to tag in tag GUI here as the auto captioning option. However, since I'm going to open Reforge to convert the images to PNG, I might as well tag them as well. Now, I'll show you both of these at the same time. So this one can go off screen. So if you come down here, so you got under view, you have auto captioner. So you want to enable that. And then when you come down here to auto captioner, you'll want to select a captioning model. So in my case, VIT Tagger V3 or the Moat or Swin V2. Try them out, see which one's good. For realism, you can do either the Moat, so the Burus, or you can do Blip. I would recommend the highest Blip you can go. Or Flan T5 XXL is also nice. So you can do one of them, but I'm going to do the VIT Tagger 3. I'll try that one out. Looking at the caption position, insert before first tag, that's fine. You can insert after last tag, whatever you want. We'll show probabilities. We want a minimum of 50. And that's plenty. So you can hit captioning on that once you open up the load directory and you load this directory with the dataset. But in our case, I'm going to go to my Forge web UI. So let me open Chrome again. I'll head over to the web UI. I'm going to copy this folder location, extras, batch from directory. I'm going to paste this one in here, paste this one in here. If you're using normal web UI, I would highly recommend to upgrade to Reforge. It's considerably better. And we're just going to put that in there. We're going to put that one in there. So we're going to output these to the same directory. Turn off show results. Now, outscaling, if you need it, you can use it, but we don't need it in this case. Actually, I might enable it just to scale to, we want minimum 1024, 1024. So if I come over here, right-clicking here, dimensions, we can see the dimensions here. So a lot of these are below 1000, so we'll need to upscale them. That's those first ones. So for upscaler, I'll just do Lansaz. I won't use this SDXL scaler because it will edit the image, like edit Snoop Dogg's skin and everything. I don't want that. Under caption here, I'm going to enable deep blur. I won't use blip for this one, I'll use deep blur. And then we're just going to hit generate. And if we wait a second, so looking here, you'll see that it's doing all the images. And it's moved the model to memory, deep down blur. And here we go, we've got all these images here. Now you can see we've got a cluttered mess. I'm going to hit type, and I'm going to delete everything that is not a PNG or a text file. And now we are left with our dataset. There we go. So if we open up one of these, we're going to see some tags in here. So we've got one boy, backpack, bag, beard, whatever. So we'll need to clean up these to make sure it matches the image. So coming into our tags UI, I'm going to go to the dataset folder. There we go. So now we have our images here. We don't need the Stable Diffusion Web UI anymore. You can close that. So first, I'm going to go to all tags. Now over here, tag click action, just filter images for tag. Sort by frequency. We want to do ascending. So we'll see, we'll do descending actually. So we'll start with the most going to the least. So here we've got solo, we can delete that redundant tag. One boy, we'll delete that one. Realistic, we'll delete that one. 3D, we'll delete that one. If you don't have these tags, don't worry, just delete them if you do. So that's one boy, one girl. You can do woman, girl, stuff like that. Photo medium, that one as well. Any photo, medium, large, or anything like that. Cosplay photo, definitely get rid of that. Photo background, get rid of that. Blue background, we'll keep blue background because it is a blue background. We've got a gradient one here, so we'll keep that. Motion blur, we'll get rid of that because that is depth of field. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Adjusting eyewear, we'll get rid of that. Steam, we'll get rid of that. Smoke. So anything that doesn't make sense, essentially. So all of these do have facial hair, so we'll make sure we got our facial hair in there. Male focus, that's alright, we'll keep male focus. Mustache. Does he have them? Yep, they've all got mustaches. We've got old. Oh, it's not that old. But what we'll do is Control A over here to select all images. We'll make sure all of them have old, so we'll just delete it there, add it back. Upper body. Make sure all of these are upper body, yep. Beard. Bold. Yeah, he's bolding a little bit. Smile. That's all good there. Old man. We'll get rid of old man, that's redundant. We've got old and man already. Dark skin. In this case, they all are dark skin, so we'll add that to all of them. Now here I'm going to show you a little trick. So what you can do is select all images, add dark skin. Doesn't matter if it's already on some of them, because if we come up to edit, we can remove duplicate tags, and it will remove any dupes. So we have done that, that's nice. So depth of field, you can see depth of field on this one, depth of field on that one. We're just going to check the rest of these for depth of field. We'll add that tag there. Depth of field, add it there. We'll do depth of field for that one. There we go. So we'll go edit, remove dupes, just make sure. Blurry background, that's fine. We've got ring, yep. Now you don't have to do this. So let's say you got like 200 images. You don't have to do this for all of them. Just get rid of the most redundant ones. The ones that are most frequent. Because that will be in all of them. You're in backpack. So there's no backpack. I saw that one. Get rid of that. Bag, no bag. Food. Oh, I don't think old did add to all of them. We'll do that. American flag, not in there. Close writing, yep. And we'll just do that for all of them. Goggles. not very short here. And there we go. So we've gone through all the tags. We've cleaned them up. There's not many redundant ones now, which is good. I'm also going to hide the auto captioner. Don't need that. And this is the easy part now. We're going to select all images. We're going to go up here and we're going to put Snoop Dogg. So this will be your trigger word. So we're going to add that to all the images. Going to go edit, batch reorder. We're going to put Snoop Dogg here. And we're going to move tags to front. So now if we scroll up here, they should all be in front. So Snoop Dogg's always first. And that's it for the dataset. So we're going to exit. Now we've got our dataset here. I'm going to open up one trainer and we will start on that. Alright, so if this is what your one trainer looks like, you've just opened it for the first time, let's do something really quick to get started way easier. So if we come over up to the top here where the blank is, click on SDXL 1.0 LoRa. This will load some default config for SDXL and also includes some options we'll need. In the top right here, make sure you've got the Stable Diffusion XL 1.0 base selected and make sure it's LoRa. Now our workspace directory, let's head over to our folders here. So if you don't have these folders here, I just created them. Create them here and they should just be empty. I had to re-record the segment, so those are there. So now that we know these folders are here, we're just going to go in, copy the path to them up here and over here. And we're going to go and paste them into the text boxes in one trainer. Scrolling down, we're going to see some more options. The only other option you need to change here is data loader threads. So when you're loading the images and caching them for the first time, that is how many threads will be used to load and cache those images. So depending on your hardware specs, you may only be able to do one. And in my case, I can do up to 16. So in my case, I'll do 16. This one doesn't really relate to the training part. This is more when it's loading the images and getting them ready for training. This one usually is quick anyway, because you only have so many images. But in larger data sets, you'll definitely want to increase that, because if you're doing 400 images, it will take forever. Next, we'll go over to the model tab. So this is the model we are going to use for training. In our case, we're doing SDXL training, so we'll want to use the 1.0 base. I do have it already downloaded in my Reforge, so I'm going to go and use that. So there we go, SDXL base. I'm going to select that and we will use that one there. Our model output destination, we're going to actually put inside this folder here. So I'm going to copy the path. I'm going to replace models here with it. And you'll notice that it has LoRa.SaveTensors. So we need to actually specify what file it's saving into and not the directory. So here I'll do Snoop Dogg LoRa. You can name it whatever you want, but make sure you are saving it into a file. All these backslashes need to be turned to forward slashes as well. So I'll do that here. And that's it. We don't need to change any of these options here, as we don't need them. Now, include config. So if you're going to upload this to Civet AI, for example, you probably do want to include the settings here. So you can do settings or all. So in my case, I'm going to just do settings. If you do want others to see what concepts you put here, so like what your images are that you've used, not the images themselves, just where they are and what they're called, that will be available if you set that to all as well. Okay, now in data, we're going to make sure all of these are enabled. For concepts, I'll come back to this, but that will be our image set. Training, we're going to jump in here. First thing I'm going to do is AdamW here. I'm going to change that to the 8-bit version. So AdamW underscore 8-bit. Loading rate will keep constant. Loading rate scheduler will keep constant. Learning rate will put as 0.0003. Learning rate warm-up steps, we'll leave as 200. Learning rate cycle 1. Epochs, I'm going to put this to 80. Batch size, so this one's an important one. Well, your batch size depends on your hardware. So if you have a really good GPU like I do, a 4090, you can do quite a few images at once, like 12 or 16, depending on the image size. But a lot of other cases, people can't do that, depending on your specs. So like if you have a 3060 or something worse than that, you'll probably want 1, 2, 4, multiple of 2 at least. So in my case, I would recommend just, if you're using a 3060 or something like that, just do like 4 or 2. If you have anything below a 3060, like a 1060, 1660, whatever, use 1 or 2. If your hardware can support it. In my case, I'm going to do 8 because I can do that many. I could do 16, but I'll just do 8. Accumulation sets, just leave as 1. Learning rate scalar, leave as none. We're going to ignore the other options down the bottom here, and we're going to go back to attention. So we're going to leave it on Xformers. EMA leave off. Gradient checkpointing on. Now train data type and fallback train data type leave as, or set as bfloat16. If you're on an RTX card, if you're not on a RTX card, leave it as float16 and leave the backup as bfloat16. In my case, I can set my training data type to bfloat because I'm on an RTX 4090, so I will set that there. Autocast cache, enable that. Now your resolution, this depends on your hardware as well. So in my case, I've got a 4090, I can run 1024. However, if you're on a lesser device, a lower performance device, set this to 768. Otherwise, training will take considerably longer, and in a lot of cases, it can't actually run in your VRAM. So I'm going to leave that as 1024, but you can do 768. Train unit, we'll leave all these options alone now. This last column, we can leave that empty as defaults as well. Port of defaults as well. Now sampling, we'll come back to that as well once we set up our dataset. Backups, I'm going to turn off backups. I won't need them. And that's it. We don't need to touch anymore. Backups will mainly be used if your device can be turned off. That will store a backup so you can go back to the backup and continue from there. Tools, we'll leave tools alone. Additional embeddings, we'll leave that alone. LoRa is another important one. So LoRa, usually the LoRa rank would be between 48, or actually 64 if your dataset's really big, and 16 or 8. So in a lot of cases, I would leave them as 16 or 32. If you have a lot of images, put it as 32. If you have less images, put it as 16. LoRa alpha will depend on your LoRa rank. I would recommend that if you have a smaller LoRa rank, 8, 16, I would leave it as 1. If you have 32 or more, put it as 0.5. LoRa alpha is a decimal between 0 and 1. Do not forget that. I did an oopsie. I set it to double LoRa rank, and that's not what you want to do. This is meant to be a decimal between 0 and 1, so it will either be half or 1 in our case. Dropout probability, I would leave this as 0.05. LoRa weight data type, I would change this to bfloat16 if you can. And layer preset, I will leave as full. So set that one to full. And that's it for these. For LoRa base model, if you're continuing to train a LoRa from a previous training session, you would select it here. So that's your base model. If you're not training it from a previous LoRa, just leave it blank. Great. Now that we've done this, let's go back to concepts and sampling, and we'll add our dataset now. Alright, so let's add our concept. So there's a button here called Add Concept. It'll create this new button here. Just click on it, and you'll get some options. So in our dataset folder, I'm going to copy this directory. Under path, I'm going to paste it there. You can also use the 3 dots and select the directory there. For the name, I'm going to put it as the trigger word. So in my case, that is Snoop Dogg. Prompt source, we're going to do from text file per sample. So it will use the file name to find the related text file, and then it will read that text file. Image variations, text variations, leave as 1, balancing leave as 1, and lost weight leave as 1. Image augmentation, this is incredibly important. Resolution override, enable that and set it to 1024, or if you're on a lesser device, 768. So match it with your training resolution, but I usually would match it with the training resolution. Text augmentation, another important one. Enable tag shuffling. This will help generalize it rather than making it skewed depending on tag order. So enable that. Keep tag count, leave as 1. So that will keep Snoop Dogg in its spot in the first position and won't shuffle it around. Now for our sampling, we're going to do sample after. I'm going to change it to step. After every 30 steps, I want to generate a image. So I'm going to pick one of these images I want to generate. I'll do this second one here. Add sample, put the prompt in there, and I'm going to do a few of these using the same prompt. So for the first one, I'll do 1024 by 1024. Do this even if you're doing 768 training. Do this 1024 by 1024. I'm going to add another one, 768 by 1024, so more portrait-like. Same prompt. And then I'm going to do 768 by 768, same prompt. 512 by 768, same prompt. And then 512 by 512. So this will get us varying portrait and square images. And if you really want, you can also add some much wider images. So like in my case, the dataset's wider. So 1024 by 768 and 768 by 512. And that is our samples there. Now this will slow down your training just because it has to sample these. So if your sampling does take a while, trim these here. So disable the ones you don't want. So in this case, I would actually just keep these top two, the 1024 and 768 by 1024. If you don't want to wait for the samples, but I want to see how the training is going, so I'm going to enable the samples. Format, leave as JPEG, reduces file size. Now non-EMA sampling, I'll leave that on. Samples to TensorBoard, up to you. I'm going to turn that off. And then we want to save current config. I'm going to call this Snoop Dogg SDXL. OK. And that will add it to this dropdown here. So now, if I go to the dropdown, you'll see Snoop Dogg SDXL. So you can press that and it'll load all the config. If you want to find where this file is at, you can go to OneTrainer, Training Presets, and your Snoop Dogg SDXL will be in there as well. So you can actually save this, or you can press export down here to save it, and you can save it into your training directory. So Snoop Dogg SDXL config, and you'll have all your options there. And when I come back, it is now there. Sweet. Now that we've done that, we can begin training. So I'm going to hit start training. I'm going to bring the command prompt over here. And you'll see it will start to cache images. And I'm going to open up Task Manager so you can see that. So there we go. So you can see that it is doing a no-no again. So if it's doing this behavior, so this is the 80 epochs, this is not meant to happen. So if that does happen, you're going to have to double check your settings. In my case, I'm going to check if my directories are correct. So I'm going to make sure I select that folder. There we go. It's probably the slashes again. I'll try that again. So maybe a couple tweaks there. And there we go. Let's try training again. Okay, now it's working. So now we're sampling the images. So this is what it currently looks like without it learning anything. So here's the prompts. So it sort of already knows Snoop Dogg, but we're going to train it further so it can understand it even more. And I'm going to leave this here until training is finished. Alright, training is over. And we have our Snoop Dogg lore. So if I jump back out now from the sample directory I had open, you can see all of our prompt or our samples are here that were being generated. And if I just head over to sampling real quick, we've got all of them there. So having a look here, if I scroll through these images, you'll see that it slowly starts changing his face, and then all of a sudden you get the spike and it looks much nicer. So in my case, it actually was really quick training Snoop Dogg because there's something like it, and then it transformed it to Snoop Dogg. And if I have a look at these other ones over here, there we go. It looks like Snoop Dogg now. Now, obviously, from the look of this, it might have needed a slightly bit longer. But we will have to try generate some prompts with this. Yeah, this one broke a little bit. There we go, that one's a lot nicer. What's that? 1024 by 768. Because this one's matching the input datasets, the size of it, or the resolution of the images, it can create them much better. So from looking at this, I can tell that I should have added more of a variety of sized images. But because I chose only large images in the dataset, that's where it worked best. You can see the reflection here, that's a big issue in this one. Oh, there's meant to be a headband, I think, but it completely broke. Yeah, so looking at the dataset, it looks like I need a probably more portrait and more square images. So I could use some of these images here to do that, or I can go and find new images. So we've got our LoRa here now. So what we're going to do is take this to Stable Diffusion, and we're going to try and use it. So we're going to grab the Snoop Dogg LoRa. We're going to copy that. We're going to head over to Web UI Forge, Models, LoRa. We're going to paste that there. Don't worry about that. That's my other script. And we're going to also make sure that we have SDXL in there. And then in our Web UI, let me pull it up. There we go. Text to image. So we're going to select our SDXL base. We're going to go SDXL VAE in our LoRa. Let's just refresh and we'll have Snoop Dogg there. Perfect. Now let's just jump to our dataset and let's grab one of these images and we're going to grab the prompt from it. For our aspect ratio, we'll follow something similar to that. So in my case, I'll do 1024 by 768. That sounds good. I'm going to turn this up to 25 sampling steps. And let's try clip set 1 and generate. Let's see what we can do. Now I'm going to close this. There we go. So that's what our Snoop Dogg looks like. Let's reuse the seed. And let's just delete our LoRa there. So that's the one it generated there. If we go back in and do that again, you can see his teeth are pretty fucked up there. Yeah, so our model showed a lot of teeth. So our teeth are much better. It's got the glasses on. It does have the I don't want to say ponytail, but like braid tails. And it matches his older look. So looking at this, it did need a little bit longer training because it just got to doing the head shape and everything. It's got the glasses, doing the beard, but it looks pretty good. So looking at that, it just needed a little bit more time, and it would have been fine. It would have turned out really well. I'm gonna try change the formatting a little bit here, or the resolution. I mean to do 1280 by 720. So this one's a really wide image, and you can see that it's doing it really well. Look at that. That was a really wide image. Yeah, so here's a little bit of a... Oh, that one's okay. It looks like it's all in a long hair style. But yeah, that was with a small image set as well of 10 images, I think it was. So that was training a person from the ground up. Sorry, not from the ground up. This was already trained in SDXL. But you can apply the same thing to other images you've got of ones that don't exist inside the model by default. And then you can train that. And just by looking at the outputs that we have of Snoop Dogg, you can see that it actually had an effect, even on the Snoop Dogg that was already trained in SDXL. It's still producing Snoop Dogg, but it just needed longer in training and probably more images. But it has a general shape, it's got the glasses, although some frame bits are sticking out. And overall, it looks pretty good. Alright, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you've learned a bit and have fun making your own LoRa's. This can be applied to SD 1.5 as well, same system, but just change it to 512 resolution instead of 768 or 1024. But apart from that, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.